So just take your time, get comfortable and settled. You can let your hands rest anywhere. Feel free to close your eyes. Just maybe move your shoulders around a little bit. Stay up nice and tall through your center and just find that tall, easy, comfortable seat. And from this tall, easy, comfortable seat, just working on a slow breath this morning. In and out. Maybe giving it a whirl of starting out with inhaling through your nose and exhaling out of your mouth. Or you can take it all in and out through your nose. Working to get that full torso experience of your breath. The back of your ribs, the sides, as well as the front of your body. Keep your breath slow, keep it smooth, and see if you can reach the top of your head a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. Change something about your hand position. It could be as simple as just flipping your palms up or flipping them down. See if that changed even the slightest bit in your breath or your posture. We'll stay here for just a little bit longer. If you know that it's helpful for your mind to have something to grasp and focus onto, feel free to count your breath, 3 or 4 counts in, and then the same number out. Or you might just stick with watching and feeling your breath in your torso. If an intention or a purpose naturally arises while you're in this first seated posture, maybe just grab it, hold it close, and let that be your intention or your purpose for your practice this morning. And if nothing naturally arises, don't worry about it. Sometimes it's just good to move and breathe and be in those present moments. Go ahead and bring your hands together at heart center. Keep your shoulders relaxed. See if you can ever so slightly pull your hands down 1/4 inch and your spine up 1 inch. And then start to feel your breath moving in your front ribs, right where your forearms are in contact with your body. Get a little bit more breath into your upper chest for some energy this morning. We'll begin our practice by clearing 2 breaths and taking an Om. You can Om in your home, you can silently hum, or you can just listen. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale for Om. Take a moment, sit just a bit higher, a bit taller. And then release your hands, release your prop, and come into child's pose towards the back, and a third of your mat, wide knees, arms extended out. Good, so take your time, let your sits bones sit heavy towards your heels, but they don't have to touch. And then just a little dynamic movement. Inhale, come up about halfway, like you're almost gonna go into table, and then exhale, sit back. You're gonna inhale, lift your hips, probably a good foot. Yeah, you got it. Exhale, sitting back. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, sitting back. So do that 3 more times, up on your in breath, back on your out breath. Starting to feel that plugging in of your thigh bones as you move back on your exhale. Take the last one, try to be light on your fingertips, and then settle back into your child's pose, Balasana, and rock a little right to left. Right to left, left to right. Good, forehead might touch the floor, might be hovering. Keep your arms active and your breath moving. 3 more breaths here. Steady in and bring it out. Inhale, come back up into that half lifted position, and you're just gonna start to go side to side. So it's like a half hip circles in your child's pose, right and left. So you're gonna go back towards your heels, over to the right side, back towards your heels, and then over to the left side. And you can bring your hands a little closer towards your knees so your hands are flat. You might have more support that way. Yep, so side to side, basically just drawing a U shape with your hips. So we're gonna work into all compartments of the hips. Muscular, skeletal, there's a lot that surrounds it. Good, try to be easy on your hands and your shoulders. This is about waking up through the lower body right here, not about stressing out your upper body. Good, you can keep it in the half U shape or start to come up forward a little bit more with your pelvis and then exhale back. So it might start out as a small circle. Yeah, you might need to change the width of your knees. Sometimes it's a little bit more accessible to bring your knees closer together and pivot around your knees to make a circle. So experiment with it, especially as I know you guys are, you're very familiar with this movement, so try to make it ever so slightly different. Shins stay on the ground, toes tucked to toes untucked, your choice. And then switch directions. So pivoting around your knees, breathing in, breathing out. Let's really try to oil up those joints this morning. Please feel free to take a pit stop in child's pose as you need. 2 more circles here. And then find yourself into tabletop. Walk your knees up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Toes under, hips high. Breathe it out. Good. And then pedal it out. Walk around with your downward dog. Let your hips sway side to side. And really just let your mouth open up. So when our mouth opens, our shoulders relax. Yeah. And when your shoulders relax, your hips get to relax a little bit. So we're going to find that constant connection in practice today of jaw, shoulders, and hips. Inhale, come forward into your plank, walk your feet back. Exhale, take your weight to lower onto your belly. Go right into cobra as you inhale. Keep it low, lower down as you exhale. That nice easy cobra to start out on your inhale, lower on your exhale. Maybe you find a little bit of contraction in your glutes as you lift up. That might help take some of the stress off your lower back. And also when you contract your glutes, continue with cobra. I'm going to say it again. When you contract your glutes, it actually helps release your hip flexors. Right, so that's a chronically tight spot that we want to try to tap into this morning. 2 more Bhujangasana cobras. Inhale up, hold the last one. Take 3 rounds of breath. Nice, everybody. On your third exhale, lower down. Inhale, tabletop, press your arms straight. Walk your knees under your hips. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up and back. And then get some more movement going on back into it. So maybe you try a different pattern of movement than you did. So if you walked it out, maybe you bend and straighten through your knees. And try a little bend and straightening through your elbows. Or maybe you try knees and elbows together. Yeah, so just kind of breaking up your habit, because we're all very familiar with the practice. Good, take 2 more. And then exhale, big bend in your knees, eyes shift forward. Start to walk your feet up to your hands, forward fold. Top of your mat, nice. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, extend. Reach, 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 reach. So all the way up. And then exhale, arms sides. Good, take your feet a little wider apart, hands on your hips. Bend your knees and take hula hooping circles. So hips to the right, to the left, and forward. So it's basically like standing hips. Forward, side, back, and side. Feet stay grounded. And now you're pivoting around your ankles instead of your knees. So a good healthy bend in your knees. Forward, side, back, and side. And maybe you take a little pit stop over to the side, really feel those outer glute muscles opening up. You take a little bit to the back, to the other side. Take 2 more in this direction. And then when you're ready, switch it up. Forward, side, back, and side. So if you're going clockwise, now you're going counterclockwise, or vice versa. Good, keep going. Try to put a little more bend into your knees. That'll help. Take 2 more in this direction, right? Try to get into all those little nooks and crannies. And then when you're ready, release your arms from your hips, stand up nice and tall. Inhale, reach out and up, stretch overhead. Exhale, take it down, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fingertips down, just your right leg up and back. Keep your fingertips down, framing your front foot. And I want you to take a few cat-cows in this runner's lunge. So a little inhale, heart forward. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin. Inhale, heart forward. And you can take your hands into fists if that feels better. So just 4 to 5 cat-cows in this runner's lunge. I want you to feel it targeted at the front of your right hip. Good, last 1 or 2. Then come back to center, gently tapping your back knee down, come right into half splits. Stretching your left leg out, keeping your heart lifted. Feel free to use your block. And just breathe right here. Heart lifted, hands light. Might be your first awakening of your hamstrings other than downward dog. Right, and we're going to let ourselves enjoy postures. We're not going to rush or just glaze over them. 1 more breath in. Exhale, walk it forward. Lift your back knee, step it up, forward fold, hang your head down. You might even interlace your fingers at the back of your neck and gently tuck your chin a little more into your chest, feeling that warm waterfall at the back of the neck. Good. Maybe turning your head side to side with that interlace, stretching those really strong side neck muscles that kind of blend in to be your traps, your upper back. Okay, then coming back to center, releasing your hands other side. So left leg up and back, fingertips, fists, or any kind of props. Yep, and then 5 cat-cows in this runner's lunge, trying to keep your front knee bent and stable over your ankle. Again, the place you should really be targeting is the front of your left hip, your hip flexor. Take 2 more. Nice. After you've taken that last one, lightly set your knee down. Prepare half splits. Straighten that right leg. Keep your torso lifted and light. Just enough so you're breathing into the back of the right leg. A whole different ball game here. Time to be in it. Time to breathe with it. Toes up towards the ceiling. You'll feel that extra little length in the back of your calf. So Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Last 2 rounds of breath. On an exhale, bring it forward. Back toes under, back knee lifts. Instead, this time, take a quarter turn to the long edge of your mat, wide-legged forward fold. A block is nice to have here, right underneath your shoulders. So we're gonna come into a little side-to-side Skandasana movement for the hip socket. So either toes pointing straight ahead or slightly out, like you're gonna kind of go into a goddess squat. That might feel better for your knee. Bend your right knee, lean to the right. Center, bend your left knee, lean to the left. So maybe you notice that your knee's kind of passing way forward and you change the position of your feet. So I just want you to move a little bit side to side at your own pace, feeling it in that socket of the hip, right where your hip crease is. You also might feel that stretch on your inner thighs. That's a nice byproduct of this. Just a little right and left and right. Maybe you try a different position in your feet now. So if they're turned out, maybe you point your toes straight ahead or vice versa. Good, one more time each side. And then gently coming back to center, quarter turn towards the top edge of your mat. Stepping your back foot up, Uttanasana, forward fold. Hang it down. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, release back into your fold. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Up, up, up. Exhale, hands back to your hips. Big toes touch together. Inhale, left knee up and forward. So you're just balancing on your right leg. Exhale, out to the side and down. And switch, left foot rooted, right knee up, out, and down. You guys got it. So keep going, one leg at a time. I want your eyes in one spot, drishti, focus. And again, still in the socket of the hip, up, out, and down. There's also a balancing aspect to this, so that's why we're having a focus point of drishti. But you'll also feel a lot of that balance in the foot that's down. So that's why we don't want to go too quickly. So even it out, take one more on each side. You got it. Good, and then come to stand, feet inner hips width distance away, arms by your side, mountain pose. Besides standing tall, I do want you to contract your glutes here. So a little squeeze of your glutes in towards your spine, and see if you can feel that release right in the front of your hips. Just kind of making more space and length here. Shoulders up, back and down, jaw relaxed. Beautiful. Stretch your fingertips down towards the floor. Keep squeezing your glutes a bit. It won't be for forever. Good. One more breath in. And exhale. Relax your glutes. Inhale, reach out and up. Full sun salutation coming up. Exhale, dive it down. Please feel free to move at your own pace. Half lift to fold. Maybe you want to step through downward dog or hop to a plank, depending on how your body's feeling this morning. We'll all eventually meet in high plank, lowering down, knees up, knees down, through chaturanga, upward facing dog, or revisit that low cobra we took. Big breaths no matter where you go. Nice. Candace, I love that your son's there. And then exhale, press it back, downward dog. Good. Make sure you adjust your feet up towards your hands a little bit after being on your belly. There you go. Not too long of a dog. Always think Goldilocks, the middle path. Inhale, bend your knees, shift your gaze forward. Exhale, step or little hops up to the top, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, drape it down. Inhale, reach out and up, a little contraction of the glutes. And then exhale, Tadasana, arms down. Feet as wide as your mat. Malasana, squat pose. Take your time coming down. Really shift the weight back into your heels so you're not on your toes. And that might be a higher squat, or you may bring it down. You may also fold your mat over a couple times, like last week when we were using the blanket. Instead of the blanket, you can just use your actual mat and bring it down. And again, everyone try to shift back a little bit onto your heels. It's really easy to come forward and squat. Yeah, so back into the sockets of the hips. Now you're gonna allow your whole body to drape, arms out in front, head coming down, rounded back. A nice cat stretch, and I want you to press the middle of your spine, right at the bottom of your ribs, towards the back edge of your mat. We do a lot of extension, which is great, but sometimes it just feels nice to get into that really delicious spaciousness of your back. Head is heavy. One more breath in. Exhale, lean forward onto the balls of your feet, hands down, forward fold. Release any props, block or mat. Step back, downward dog. Three-legged dog, right leg up in the air. Keep your legs straight. So now your big toes are pointed down. I want you to point your big toe out to the side. So you're rotating externally through your whole right leg. Maybe lift your right inner thigh higher than your left and press your right heel back behind you. Yeah. So you're gonna feel your right glute and simultaneously feeling release in the front of your right hip. Arms straight, three-legged dog. Try and keep your shoulders a little more square to the top. I know it's kind of funky. Breathe in. Exhale, point your right big toe down to the floor, square off through your hips. Right foot steps down. Inhale, left leg rises up, three-legged dog, steady in your hands. Big toe starts pointing down to the floor, then out to the side. Lift your left inner thigh a little higher and then press your left heel back. It is work. You should feel it a lot. Nice. So you're pressing your whole leg back, glute working, hip flexor releasing. 2 more breaths. Good, one more inhale. Exhale, first point your big toe down. Take another in breath and step your left foot down. Next, exhale, knees down, tabletop. So instead of taking hip circles and three-legged dog, because we're not trying to stress the shoulders out, we're gonna take it in tabletop, knees together. Start with your right leg, out, up, and down. Kind of like we did standing, just like you would do in a three-legged dog, but in a tabletop. Yeah, You're like, oh, this is so much more enjoyable with my hands down. Keep going. One more time on this side. And bring your knee down, take it on the other side. So out, around, and down. And you will ever so slightly lean to the side where the knee is down, that's all right. Good, 1 to 2 more times on this side, but make sure it feels fairly balanced, right to left. And then come back to center. Take your hands a little wider so you have more space between your hands. I'm gonna point my camera down so you guys can see. You're gonna come into a semi-Gomukhasana, left knee up and over, so left thigh on top of the right, cross-legged essentially. Kick your feet up towards the top edge of your mat, and then exhale, sit back halfway. So left thigh on top of right, feet kicked up, and you're gonna sit back a little bit. Ooh, outer hips now. Your bum does not need to go to the floor. Be light in your hands. Yeah. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, sit it back. You can have that full flex in your feet, especially if you've got anything going on with your knees, any kind of weak feeling or delicacy. But here it is okay to just kind of relax the feet. One more inhale, back out. Exhale, dive in, sit it on back. And a lot of familiar stuff we're working on from last week since we did that Gomukhasana. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Honestly, I don't remember. So much time has been flying. Inhale, come up, good job. Simply take your leg that's back, up and over. So right knee up and over, thighs crossed. Maybe bring your feet up a little and then exhale, sit it back. And it's perfectly good to have the right knee lifted off the mat. You just want to keep your left knee and shin down. Inhale, come out of it. Exhale, sit back into it. Inhale, come out of it. Exhale, dig into it, but gently, right? We're not poking at it. Stay here for a little while, relax your neck, open your jaw, say, ah. Shoulders easy so the hips can relax. Inhale, find yourself back into tabletop, unwind, and just do any natural counter movement here. It might be child's, might be side to side. You might need spinal motion of cat and cow, or a little combination of all of them. Finish up where you're at. Make sure your block is near. Put it underneath your right hand. Lowest setting, perfectly good. Left foot coming up, but to that long edge of your mat. So where you can see my water bottle, you want your foot closer to that. Scooting your right knee back, back, back. So we're coming back to the front of the hip flexor, right? And the hip flexor, your quad is part of your hip flexor, your psoas, there's all this stuff. So we are gonna work a little bit of quadricep opening. So from here, bend your back knee. Make sure you're not right on your kneecap. You're a little bit ahead of it. And this might be plenty. If you start to feel the length in your quad, you're good. Just keep your chest up, keep breathing. If you want to bring your left hand forward, up and around, you can find your foot. Yep. Woo. Just takes the spice level up if it's necessary today. Maybe rolling onto the baby toe side of your left foot. And there's a lot happening in this variation of a lunge. But what I want you to focus on the most is breathing into your right hip and all the way down the front of your thigh. Because as many of you know, the hip socket involves the thigh bone. The quad wraps on the front of the thigh. Push down with your right hand, lift a little taller up through your chest, so you're keeping spinal extension upwards. Last 2 to 3 breaths. Maybe a good time to crack into a smile, so you're not grimacing as much. Slowly release your back foot, bring your left hand out and forward. It might feel nice to just naturally lean into half splits again. Just a little wider base in your feet. Good, feel free to move that block up and out of the way. Hands on the inside of your foot. We're gonna stay on this side. Come forward into a dragon lunge, back knee lifted. And just rock forward and back. So flat hands or fists. Wide stance in your feet, like you're standing on the edges of railroad tracks. One more breath in, steady and center here. Squeeze your glutes a little bit, lift up through your pelvis, your hips, and then exhale, right knee down again. Walk your hands back. So your right knee is gonna stay in tabletop. You're gonna sweep your left leg out, around into the back right corner of your mat. Out and around to the back right corner of your mat. Hands to the top left corner, slide it back. That similar pigeon shape, but a little more elevated. So you should now transition the sensation into your outer right glute. And even though we're doing a lot of floor work, a lot of postures here, it's still a lot of effort to not collapse into the rest of your body. If forearms feels better than hands, bring your elbows down. Wiggle those left toes back, keep your knee elevated. Again, very similar to pigeon, but we're focusing more on extending the back leg than worrying about the front shin. Push your forearms down into the ground. One more breath in. Slow breath out. Now bring your back knee down, hands under your shoulders, and you're just gonna bring your left knee back and underneath you. Wiggle it out in tabletop. Find your block again, this time putting it to the left side of your mat underneath your left hand. Let's tap into the other side. Right foot forward. Left knee scooting back. Hips heavy and moving towards the ground, but not in a collapsing way. So I don't want you to just drop your belly. Option to bend your back knee. Plenty here. Maybe a whole different story on this side, or right arm forward, up, looking back, maybe connecting to your foot. Option to roll to the baby toe side of your right foot. Good. And it's really easy to kind of drop into your left shoulder. So really use your left arm, push, kind of elevate your torso upright. And again, even though there's a lot happening simultaneously in this posture, main focus is your left quadricep, left hip flexor. Good. Just spending some quality time here. Make sure you're not directly on your kneecap. That's not so great for that little tiny bone. You want to be more on your thigh, right above your kneecap. Good. One more breath in. Exhale, release your back arm if it's there, hands down. And then maybe you find that natural shift back, half Hanuman. Just a little counter action of relaxing your hamstring. Set your block off to the side, prepare for that wide lunge, flat hands or fists, come forward, foot to the right edge of the mat, back knee up, and a little pivot forward and back, using the ball of your back foot. Relaxing through your jaw. One more, and then settle into center. Breathe in. Exhale, back knee down. Walk your hands back. So you're basically in a table with your left thigh. Right leg sweeps back around to the back left corner of your mat. Hands to the top right, slide it on back. And again, flat hands, forearms. Diagonal line across your mat. And the more you can wiggle your right toes back and keep the effort of your hips up, you should feel it in the outer left hip, which is actually part of your glute, muscular-wise. Where is that breath? It's here, but we don't always pay attention to it. Shoulders relaxed, jaw unwinding. That'll help that cascade of ease down towards your hips, towards the glutes around the hips. Last 2 breaths. Different way to exit this posture than typical. Right knee down, bring your hands back up. They're just going to bring that knee out and forward so you end back in tabletop. Yeah. Take a couple barrel rolls. Hips to the right, shoulder blades towards the ceiling, cat, hips to the left, belly down. And just roll it around. You guys know I love the food analogy, so you're on the inside of whatever jar you want to be in on the inside of. My favorite is always Nutella, right? Stick me on the inside of a Nutella jar and I'm going to scrape as much out on the sides as possible. Reverse directions. And then center back up. Left foot stepping up top of your mat, right knee rising up, lunge with your hands down. Quarter turn to the other long edge of your mat, wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Deep exhale, hang over. And since it is nice and early in the day, if this is your inversion, wide-legged forward fold, amazing. But I know a lot of you like to practice a different inversion. So I'm going to give you a full minute to 90 seconds to go anywhere you'd like. Any upside down mechanism, and this is one of them. Good, yeah, wall space, amazing. If you're in any kind of headstand, make sure you're putting more emphasis on your forearms than on the top of your head. Or your hands, good. If you're in wide-legged forward fold, maybe change up the position of your feet a little more pigeon-toed in to open up the sacrum, the SI. Maybe you play with coming onto the balls of your feet if you're in wide-legged forward fold. Got plenty of time still. You can always come down and then return to being inverted. Start to come down, return to wide-legged forward fold. There's no particular path you have to take to get there. Finding a twist in your wide-legged forward fold. Left hand underneath your nose, right arm out to the side, and then you're going to open up. Try not to let your right hip go too high. You want to keep your sacrum pretty level. I want you to turn from your belly button. So you might even take your right hand right at your belly button line, reach up, and then slide your hand over your belly. Lean a little bit more into the balls of your feet. There you go. Head looking up. If that's at all aggravating, gaze turning down. Still find energy in your legs, feet hugging towards one another. One more breath in and out. Release your twist on an inhale. Switch your hands, right hand down, left arm out, or you can bring your hands to your belly, finding that turn up and open. You always want to have an anchor point when you twist, and here it's your hips. So you're turning from your belly button, reaching up, shifting your gaze up. Yeah. A little bit more weight forward onto the balls of the feet. Last 2 breaths. Release on an inhalation. Walk around to the front of your mat, left toes pointing forward. Option to keep your back knee up, option to bring your back knee down. Coming upright, lifting into your arms. Any runner's lunge, low or high. You might need a little bit more energy, so you might go for the high lunge. You might need more of that grounding, releasing feeling, and that would be a low lunge. Exhale, hands at your heart, moving into your twisted lunge. Inhale, grow first, then exhale, go into your twist, connecting your elbow to the outside of your thigh. And again, your hips are anchoring you. The twist comes with your exhale and at your belly button. Nice. Excellent job, everyone, keeping your knee in that safe spot, stacked atop your front ankle. Maybe you shift your gaze to look over, turning your neck towards your your left shoulder. Last 2 full rounds of breath. Again, you want to release the twist on an inhale. Hands coming down, back knee lifted if it's lowering, and a couple steps up, forward fold at the top of your mat. Wide stance in your feet, opposite hand, opposite elbow, head drooping down. Big open mouth sigh. Gentle pull of your elbows towards the ground, so you're tractioning out your own spinal column. It's a little more space. And then releasing your hands, bring your big toes to touch, left leg back. Find the same variation of the lunge, low or high. Start with your arms lifted. So second side. Stacking of the knee right atop your right ankle. Exhale, hands to your heart. Breathe in, grow up first. Then exhale, go into your twist. Left elbow to the outside of your thigh. Again, gaze can be down, can be straight ahead, or up towards the ceiling, looking up and over your back shoulder. Keeping your hips solid, twisting as you exhale, and at the middle of your spine and torso. Think about like wringing out a dish towel, right? The most of the twist when you do that happens in the center of the towel. That's kind of what we're going for here, the center of your spine. Last breath or 2. Remember, complete it on the exhale, release on an inhale. Hands come down. Back knee lifts if it's down, this time downward facing dog, step it back, breathe it out. Inhale, high onto the balls of your feet. Stretch through your toe joints, exhale, heels dropping down, but don't overly force them towards the mat. And then a couple times, bend your elbows, bend your knees. Inhale, straighten your joints. Exhale, hinging elbows and knees. And gently lengthening. 2 more times, elbows and knees. On the next exhale, come all the way down to your knees. Come onto your forearms, step your feet back. Just 1 forearm plank, just 1. Forearms press the ground away. So your torso is elevated, hips are high. I'd rather have your bum higher than your hips sagging. Yep, looking good. Last 2 breaths in. Don't forget to breathe out. You just don't want to only breathe in. Prepare for Sphinx. Knees down, quads down, heart up. Hug your elbows back towards your ribs. Pull your ribs forwards towards your elbows. And then again, press the forearms down so you lift your shoulders and spine higher. Right, you might feel that nice extension at the front of your hip or back into the hip flexors, or you might need to squeeze your bum a little bit. Press that front triangle of your pubis down into the mat, and you might feel that stretch a little bit more. Don't let your shoulders round in. Keep your collarbones nice and open. You might even flip your palms up so you keep that space released and open. One more breath in. Exhale, slowly walk your elbows farther forward. Stack your forearms, rest your forehead. Release your glutes. Bring your feet a little closer together, maybe touching. Inhale, right leg up about a foot. Stretch your right toes back, back, back. And then exhale, foot down. Left leg up a foot. Reach your toes back. Feel like someone's gently lengthening your leg by your ankle. One more breath in. Exhale, release. Now you might need to come back onto your forearms for this next posture. Half frog. Take your left leg up and out to the side. Foot is flexed, so you're still on your belly. Half frog, there you go. And then you might want to come back down. You can keep your right forearm there, turn your head, put the right side of your head onto your forearm. Take your left hand to your glute and gently press to let your hip relax. So now we're into that skeleton again. Letting the thigh bone nuzzle its way into your hip socket. Here you really want to embrace gravity and exhale. Make sure your ankle's right underneath your knee. So this is a little bit more passive, but it doesn't mean you're just flopping. You're just breathing. One more breath in and out. Come back up onto your forearms. It's just a little bit easier, I find, to lean over to your right side and gently stack your left leg on top of your right, then coming back onto your belly. So lean to the side, stack of your legs and then come back. And then lean over to the left to pull your right knee up, Ardha Gomukhasana, half frog. Your thigh should shoot straight out from your hip or close to. And then your choice, maybe using your left forearm as a pillow with your right hand on the back side of your bum, just gently encouraging a downward action. And release your glute muscles. Find that connection of your jaw, your shoulders, and your hips. All working as a team to surrender into this shape. Nice, everybody. Notice if you're resisting in any way. So you can sink into it. Last 2 exhales. Come back onto your forearms. And again, it's just a little easier exit, leaning over to the left. This time coming all the way onto your back. And if you want to look at the screen for a second, as you come onto your back, you're going to take the eagle wrap in your legs one thigh over, and then you're going to let your legs go out to a wide V and then switch thighs. So you're going to go out to the side. This is called sprinkler Garundasana. So you're going to go out and wrap it like you would an eagle. So out to a wide V, changing which thigh is on top. Yeah, you got it. Flex into your ankles. We're moving everything. If for some reason you're feeling clicking in your hip, right, on like the inside of your hip, that can be a common sensation. Don't make the V as wide in between the thighs wrapping. Last 2 to 3. Ending with the left thigh on top of the right. Lifting your shins up towards the ceiling, taking a hold of either the bottoms of your feet or towards your calf muscle. Gently, be nice to yourself, bring your shins towards you. So they're going to go up and then exhale in towards you. So now we're more in a cow-faced position rather than eagle. So feet or calves. Duncan, I know you love this one, so I thought I'd put it in there today. Flex into your feet. You're feeling it in your glute medius muscle, which is one of those ones that wraps around the hip socket. If it's too much, you can always bring your heels down towards your bum. If you need more, toes up, shins parallel towards the ceiling. Last breath or 2. Big toe sides of the feet coming towards your armpits. Release on any breath and then switch. Right thigh on top of left. Find either the bottoms of your feet or the bottoms of your shins, which are your calves. Up a little with your toes and shins, and then exhale, shins towards your collarbones. Breath is still active. Shoulders down. It's easy to let those slide up towards your ears. Last breath or 2. You do just want to find that even sensation in the right and the left sides. Slowly unwind when you feel that. Both feet down. Inhale right into bridge posture, releasing your hip flexors now because they were just contracted. Lean over to the left, left upper arm under, then lean right upper arm under, eyes straight up towards the ceiling. Bridge. Excellent. So now feeling that nice wave open on the front of your body from your shoulders up towards your hip flexors, your thighs. A little lift of your chin away from your chest, just a little bit. Maybe you can wiggle your upper arms just a little closer together. Good, last 2 breaths. Maybe you find that contraction in your glutes. Release your hands on an out breath. Exhale, roll from your shoulder blades to your middle spine, all the way down. Maybe a windshield wipering of your knees or any final movement before you slide out into a resting shape, which today could very well be butterfly on your back, or it's called swastikasana. It's your legs in cross-legged, essentially, one shin in front of the other and lying back on your spine. Yeah, so it's just like you would be sitting with your shins crossed. It might be a little easier on your hip sockets. Any other way you want to rest, we're going to get a good couple minutes here. Shavasana can never be too long. Everyone grant yourself a sigh. Notice your jaw, your shoulders, and then your hips. Maybe you need another side to fully release into this shape of rest. And if you find any moments of bubbling resistance, come back to checking in with your jaw, your shoulders, and your hips. One more time, check in, jaw, shoulders, down to your hips. Let an exhale go. If you're ready to move out of this shape, a little sway of your head side to side, open and closing of your jaw, curling your wrists in and then back out, pointing and flexing your feet, moving your knees into an upright position towards the ceiling and then in towards your chest or armpits. Rock or roll around, coming onto your right side and then up to sit. Find your seat, hands at heart center, eyes closed. And in this seated upright position, one last final scan. Jaw, shoulders to the hips. Gather back your intention. And don't leave it on your mat today. Take it with you into the rest of your Friday, through the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. We'll end the same way as we began. 2 clearing breaths and an optional Om. In, out. Back in, back out. Inhale for Om. Om. Namaste. Thank you guys for taking the time for yourselves and for your bodies this morning. Good to see everybody. I'm back. Not with you though, Mom. Sorry. Mwah.
Hi, Amy Jane. Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
This is my nephew from Vegas,
Oh,
10.
I was like, I've seen pictures of your son, but I was like, well, maybe he just looks different on the Zoom. Thanks for joining, bud. You did great.
Thank you.
You're
Bye,
welcome. I'll
Duncan.
see you soon.
Bye.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome back.
thank you. It feels so nice to be back.
I hope you didn't miss all the colors. I guess there's some still around.
Yeah, I went up to Aspen Vista yesterday, but all the leaves were gone and dead. And I was like, well, it was still a pretty hike. So. All right. So sorry I have to keep it so
That's
short
okay.
today.
Yeah. I guess I don't have too much to report. Did a class on Tuesday with a